Obviously, extremely disappointed right now. Extremely disappointed. Came in, felt like we had a game plan to compete with these guys early on. Thought it was a pretty good give and take, and then just the bout kind of broke. Obviously when Chuck went down, Armani went down, the run game kind of went out the window. They already established a big lead. Our tackling was so poor. It was so poor all darn night. We had so many opportunities to get off the field early in the first half, and then coming in at halftime with that 33-10 lead. They would have had a lead, but it shouldn't have been that much. And then you come back, in right after the half, and don't do anything with it, and then they end up getting a score, and all of a sudden you're really behind the 8 ball. So I thought Kenyon was gutsy. I thought he did a good job of standing in there against a really good pass rush. Made some mistakes. He's going to do that. He's young, but I thought he did some really good things. But we got to do some soul searching, and we got to get a whole lot better real fast.
The initial move to put Kenya in there, was Armani hurt, or was that just a quarterback change?
Well, we had done it throughout the week. We did 2-minute drill, and we let Kenyon get the 2-minute drill stuff. So that was actually something we were planning on doing. We reinserted Armani. Armani ended up getting hurt, but then coming out of the locker room, he was cleared to go, but we saw the limp that he had, and I didn't think it was right to stick him out there and put him in that vulnerable situation.
Any update on Charles at all?
He's got a sprained knee. The severity, I do not know. I don't know right now. He obviously was going to get back in that second half. We'll see what happens tomorrow when we come in for treatment, and hopefully it's a short thing, but I don't know.
Well, obviously losing Williams, you're hurt in the running game, but what else kept you guys from getting going on the ground today?
Well, that was a big thing. I thought they did a really good job at the point of attack. Every yard we got were hard yards. It wasn't like we were gashing them. Early on that first drive, I thought we had a good plan. After that, they did a pretty good job of settling in, and they just beat us up front.
The tackling, is there anything you can do about that in season?
Well, there is, because you've seen us tackle a whole lot better than that before. So again, when you're coming into a place like Wyoming and you're playing a Craig Bull team and they're going to get downhill and they're going to run power and they're going to run power and they're going to run power and they're going to run right at you, you have to be committed to a physical battle. And some of our guys were more up for it than others, but we've played teams that run the ball downhill and we've tackled well. We did not do that tonight, and it was very evident. The amount of yards after contact was just unbelievable. When we go back and watch that film and we chart how many yards they got after the first guy makes contact with them, and we fit them up pretty good tonight, but just a ton of yak yards.
And you gave up a lot of yards to Titus Swen and the run game. Is there anything you can do to shore that up? Because of course,
tackling, it all comes to tackling. Again, it's all scheme, it's all gap control, right? So when you have your guys, and you have a linebacker, you have a safety, and you're fitting the gaps and making contact at the line of scrimmage, and the guy's bouncing off and running for 8 or 9 more yards or big plays, you got to do a better job of tackling. The scheme was there. Guys were right where they needed to be. You kept looking up at the board and seeing our guys bounce off. So, got to be a little tougher.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
How tough is this when you guys played so well at Northwestern and then you have an off week and Wyoming, what they're going to do?
Yeah, it's really tough. The hard thing about that is there was no mystery about what they were going to do. They were a little banged up. We knew they were just going to try to, use Chambers, get the ball downhill, shorten the game, and I think that's exactly what they were trying to do. Again, it comes back down to a toughness issue, and they were tougher than we were tonight. A lot tougher.
Based on what you saw from Kenyon tonight, what are your thoughts on quarterback going forward?
Man, the thing about it, we're kind of in a quadrant right there because they're so different. Armani is a running quarterback, run first, pass second. He threw some good balls tonight, did a good job. Kenyon is the opposite. He's your drop back passer. So if Armani is not healthy, but he can't run around out there, it kind of limits the things that we can do. Schematically, we call the game differently when he's in, is what I'm saying. So we got to go back to the severity of the injury. I thought Kenyon did some good things, and they'll both be ready to go, I hope.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, guys.
Sounds good.
What's the frustration level after this one?
We had a horrible defensive display today. Tackling was atrocious right now. Our assignments, we're not keeping our eyes on our guy and letting the guys run free down the field. It's costing us points. That's really giving up the offense, giving them a bad struggle at the point of attack. We just got to be a better defense overall, really and truly.
Is it something that can be fixed, do you think, in short order with Boise coming to town on Saturday?
We got to. That's a simple question. You got to. We're going to have another display like that again.
When you see Charles go down offensively, you're going to be limited in terms of what you can do. how much pressure does that put on the defense, knowing that they're going to have to carry this team going forward in a game like that?
That puts a lot of pressure on the defense, but Coach Skip always tell us we're the people that stop the bleeding, so we have to stop the bleeding. When there's bleeding going on, you got to stop it. People have their jobs, and our job is to stop the bleeding. So Chuck went down, so we got to do our job to stop the bleeding, and that's as simple as that. We got to stop the bleeding. We can't have the bleeding keep leaking. We have to stop it at the point of every time we get a bad play or something, we got to move on to the next one. You just can't worry about that play right there because the next play is going to happen. That's how we're keeping up these touchdowns.
How frustrating is it when you knew what Wyoming was going to do and then to see them go over 300 yards today on the ground? How disappointing is that for you guys?
Really and truly, it's probably disrespectful to our coaches because it looks like they don't coach us at all, which is not the case at all. Our coaches did a great job this week, or the last 2 weeks, of telling us what they were going to do. And I said it earlier in the week, they're going to run the ball. And they ran it down our throat and did whatever they wanted to do, and they passed it whenever they wanted to do. And simple as that. That looks like our coaches don't know what they're doing because we're displaying what our coaches teach us. And our coaches do not teach us how to play like that.
And with pressure on your coach, that's you're obviously not very, very happy about that because there's a lot of pressure on your coach right now to win games.
To win games, it's pressure on all of us. We just don't go out there planning on losing. So I think the biggest thing right now is that we got to come out and we got to find our rhythm because last year we went in a 5-game losing streak, 6-game, whatever it was, and it was too late. So we either better get it or now we're gonna have the same result as last year.
How much of a backbreaker were defensive penalties today? I mean, it seemed like there was a defensive holding call on a pick. There were a couple of late hits out of bounds and that sort of thing. I mean, it seemed like when you guys caught a break, there was just kind of a penalty to just kind of just keep things moving for Wyoming.
I think that we just stabbed ourselves in the back, and I had 2 of those penalties, so that's my fault. And as a captain, I need to make sure I need to man up and do a better job because the team's looking at me, especially with a pick right there. That could have changed the whole momentum, but I held him. That's what the ref said, and I got to go on to the next play. And then the one on the sideline, man, I honestly didn't know that you couldn't do that anymore, and it cost us. It cost us a lot. Next play was a touchdown.
Thanks, Javin.
Thank you.
Thoughts on what happened out there tonight?
We got outplayed. As simple as that. We practiced all week hard on the stuff we saw tonight, and we just didn't execute. It wasn't a coaching thing. It wasn't none of that. As players, we just got to be way better and go back to work. That's really all. As long as we just keep working hard, we can get over anything.
How does the offense change with Kenyon in there instead of Armani?
It definitely changes more of we have more of a throwing attack with Armani just being so lethal with his feet. But honestly, the offense is still the same. It's not like we have a different set of plays for Kenyon and a different set of plays for Armani. So we got out executed. Simple as that.
What do you think about the night you had? Because you obviously had a big one.
I don't even really think none of it. We lost by 40. It's hard to celebrate when you lose a big game like that. So I don't really think none of it.
That touchdown you had, and you guys were obviously taking a chance there early. I mean, did you feel like kind of swung momentum in your favor at that point? You guys were sitting pretty good. That touchdown.
Yeah, definitely. Coach, he put his faith into me to go make a big play for us, and I did just that. But we definitely had the momentum with there. I don't know what really happened. We have to watch the film, but things just fell apart after that.
I mean, you had several catches tonight. I guess what was it that were you guys game planning to try to get you going? Based on something you saw in Wyoming's defense.
I mean, we just game planned for players that if you run the right things, if you do the right stuff all the time, stuff just comes to you. And I was doing the right things, and the ball just came to me. I was able to make plays and stuff like that for us.